Perfect. We're set. So, guys, 5 steps to take before a fat loss phase. Why am I going over this? One of the things I notice a lot of people, whenever they approach a fat loss phase, they literally go from diet on diet and diet on end, and they see some results here and there. And most of the time, you see the typical weight loss in the first couple of months. And then after a while, you notice that the weight comes back, and then you go into another diet phase and you see weight loss, and then you gain the weight back. And it's just so many people out there are losing weight all the time and they're gaining it back. And I'm tired of seeing all you guys go through that. So, um, one of the reasons why I created this is because you probably don't need a diet. You already tried so many different diets, so many different things, and that might not be your go-to. What you actually might need now is a different approach, something else. You might actually need to prep your body to be ready to go on to that diet. So I'm going to go over the 5 steps that you need to take right now if you're thinking of losing weight, and if you're thinking of starting off a diet. These 5 things are going to be a prerequisite that's going to guide you into that. So, like I said, most people place such an amount of effort into the during the fat loss phase. And I mean, they start prepping their food, they start looking at what the right supplements are, they start getting their workouts in, they start doing cardio, they start doing all these different things. And I'm not saying those things are bad. I mean, that's literally the correct approach for fat loss. But what they don't address is what you got to go through before you even start doing these things. So we completely forget that before fat loss phase, priming your body, priming your mentality, priming, like seeing if you're actually ready to do this. Because to be honest, just like I said, you have to earn the right to put a bar on your back whenever you're squatting. You have to earn the right to diet. You can't just jump in a diet out of the get-go, because that's the easiest way to set yourself back, to destroy your metabolism, to destroy your health, destroy your mental health whenever approaching this journey. And it's going to set you back so much, because you're going to literally be going on and off the bandwagon, and that's what I don't want for you. So starting off with step number 1, just like I said, I placed right here, we actually got to figure out what you're doing right now. How much calories are you intaking? Where are you actually at? So there's 3 different steps that I planted right here for this first initial step. Whenever I start off with someone, it's like, let's raise awareness. Let's see where we're actually at. This involves some sort of tracking. It doesn't necessarily have to be written tracking. It doesn't have to be MyFitnessPal, but if you are at that level, if you are at that stage, you can definitely use MyFitnessPal as a tool. So what I recommend is track your food for at least maybe 1 or 2 weeks. Just see where you're at. Create awareness on what you're actually eating, what your habits are, where you are at the moment. The best way to track, there's 2. There's the more professional way, the more advanced way, I would say, which would be using a software like MyFitnessPal. Carbon is another one out there. There's so many food tracking apps out there that you could literally weigh your food or scan a barcode, and it tells you what you're eating. Now, to be honest, that's a skill, and you gotta practice that to get better at it. So if you're not at that level just yet, if you're not at the level where you're able to track your food meticulously and weigh your food out, then there's other forms of tracking, like literally just writing down what you're eating. If you're sitting down and you have rice, chicken, and broccoli, then write rice, chicken, and broccoli. Don't worry about weighing it. Just write what you're eating down, and do that for 1 or 2 weeks. If you're eating down and having a Big Mac, write down Big Mac, medium size, large fries, Diet Coke, because I want to start a diet. So literally just create awareness on what you're doing. And one of the things that I start off my clients that are not ready to physically weigh their food and track using an app, I would say take pictures. Start by just whenever you're sitting down about to eat, just take a quick picture of what you have in your plate, then store your phone in your pocket, and and go along your day. So do that for 1 or 2 weeks. Now, to be honest, if you are not at a point where you can take your phone out, snap a quick picture of what you're eating, and put your phone away, then you're probably not ready to weigh your food, and you're probably not ready to start a diet. So be sure that you take these steps accordingly, because if you jumpstart a diet right away, it's just going to be putting you on a level that you might not be at the moment. It's all stages, it's all levels. You got to work your way up. Now, what do we do with what we track? Well, first of all, recognize what habits you have. Now, to be honest, this is I'm going to be very honest with you guys. I bet you right now, sitting down watching this, you probably know what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm extremely honest about that because it's true. Whenever I approach my fat loss phase, I already knew that I had to get more veggies in. I already knew that I had to stop eating fast food. I already knew that I had to get rid of maybe Coke or or smoking. I was a heavy smoker back then. I used to drink alcohol every single weekend, multiple times a week, multiple weeks of the month, multiple months of the year, literally. So really take a deep dive on yourself, your habits. And like I said, most of us know what to do, what little changes, what steps we need to take to adopt better habits. Now, if you want a more practical way, this is some of the things that you got to be looking for. What's missing? Okay, am I getting enough protein? Do I have protein with each and every meal? What is protein? So I'm talking about maybe like chicken, fish, steak, eggs. Now, if you're in the vegan side, look up different protein sources for vegan, different plant-based options like tempeh, tofu, and all these different things. This is very important because protein is going to help you, especially when you go into this fat loss journey. It's going to help you boost your metabolism. It's going to help you hold on to lean muscle mass. So make sure that you're getting an adequate amount of protein. What else? Am I drinking a lot of water throughout the day? Most people really don't drink enough water throughout the day. I know a lot of people that barely go through 1 glass of water. Also take a look at, are you getting veggies? And if you don't like veggies, are you eating fruit, or do you have some sort of micronutrients? You have some sort of these very nutritious options inside your diet. Now, like I said, address that, look at where you're at, see what's missing, see what you might need to add on. And then from there, you could go on to step number 2, which is this next slide. So step number 2, basically, once we assess where we're at, is it bad to drink diet soda and sugar-free? Sorry, I'm actually looking at Instagram and while I'm recording this. So I'll get to all the questions after the call. Right now, I'm going to go over all the details within the 5 different steps. Then at the end of the call, I'm going to go back and I'm going to look at all the questions that I might have within the live feed or the Instagram feed. So going back to once we actually addressed and make sure if you do have a question, write it down before you forget, because I know for a fact if I have a question and I don't write it down, I'm probably gonna forget. So back, we addressed our nutrition. Oh, no worries, man. We addressed our nutrition, we addressed what's missing, we addressed what our next step, we addressed where we're at. Now, what do we actually need? Because to be honest, sometimes the solution is not always eat less food. I know a lot of times out there, the first approach for fat loss, everyone says, oh, you got to eat less, move more. But that's not necessarily correct. To be honest, if you've already are eating very low amounts of food, or if you've tried many different diets and you've been on this yo-yo train where you've lost weight, gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, and every time you try it, it's become a little bit harder, then you probably need to do more work in the back end to earn the right to for fat loss again. Because whenever we're doing this yo-yo type of phase, our metabolism is adapting to all these different changes. And there's a reason why it becomes even more difficult every time we start a diet. So one of the things that you might see is if you're already on a very low caloric intake, you really can't go lower than that. Or if you've done so many diets that your metabolism has slowed down, you might need to work on a metabolic restoration phase. You might need to actually start and do a reverse diet, which means you got to gradually optimize your metabolism, optimize your hormones, optimize the health levels within your body. So that way your body's in a healthy spot. That way you're not doing damage when you're approaching a fat loss phase. Because I've seen many people out there go from 1,200 calories to 700, 800 calories, which is literally nothing, just to lose weight. And there's so many unhealthy aspects to that. So if you're at a low level already, what you want to do is you want to approach maybe a reverse diet, approach a metabolic restoration phase, take a look at your hormones and start adding instead of subtracting. That's one of the best approaches. Start adding more protein, more veggies, and more of these healthier, nutritious options within your meal. Now, if you're not at a very low calorie intake and you haven't done a lot of diets, you might need maybe with a lean building or a lean maintenance phase, you might be able to see some results. What that means is instead of going directly into an extreme diet, let's start by just optimizing these aspects of our life, eating more protein, drinking more water, getting more veggies in. And by doing that and staying at a maintenance, yes, it's going to take a little bit longer to lose weight. But it's going to be in such a healthier way. You're going to be able to hold on to more muscle. If you are not training at all, and this is your first step into training, this is where you see the newbie gains. And this is where that full body composition recomp happens, when you actually lose fat and build muscle at the same time. Yes, you can do that, but it's mostly you mostly see that in people that are newer to weightlifting. You mostly see that in people that haven't approached the diet, that are adopting healthier habits, that haven't worked out before. Their central nervous system is activating, their metabolism is firing up. All these different modalities, all these different adaptations are creating that process. Now, that's for someone that's more experienced, of someone that's dieted so many times, this becomes very difficult. For someone that's been weightlifting for a while, for example, like me, I can only approach either a fat loss phase, a slow maintenance phase, or a building phase. It's very hard. You get to a point where it becomes very hard to burn fat and build muscle at the same time. But that's because of workout history, diet history, and all these different details. And you got to you got to take that into account. If you hire a coach and they don't ask you what your diet history was or what your workout history was, then he's probably just getting some cookie cutter type of program and just feeding it to you. So as a coach, as a professional, as an expert in this field, there's a lot of context involved, and you have to ask the right questions to know what the right plan is for each specific person. Now, if another thing that you might need to work on would be getting consistent. So within this this image that I have right here, I have two different graphs. I have one where it's like almost perfect, and you see just one bar go up to the sky. And then you have another one where it has smaller, lower bars, but they're consistent throughout the progress line. And it's like, it's good enough. And to be honest, it's like sometimes we want everything to be perfect. We strive for all the stars to align. We strive for everything in our life to be in the optimum, most perfect plane for us to approach a fat loss phase, or for us to do anything at all. And to be honest, if we keep on waiting for that, it's probably most likely not going to happen, and you're not going to see results. So what do you have to do? Start working on the small things and building your way up. Maybe you're not ready for a fat loss phase, but maybe you could start off by taking some steps, by maybe adding more water, by eating more protein, by doing all these different things. I have anchors that I work off. If you guys need any of the details on those anchors, which is like literally 5 basic steps, that 5 basic habits that you could implement within your life, that are my personal anchors, that are 5 things that I do on a daily basis, that if I don't work out, if everything goes wrong within the day and I hit those 5 anchors, then it's probably going to be it's a successful day for me. So if you guys need those anchors, please write it down, let me know, send me a DM. But yeah, guys, getting consistent is very important, because now I've been in the bodybuilding realm also, and I've been in a bodybuilding competition. Now, to be honest, to get up there on stage, you have to be very dedicated to the process, and it's very hard. It's a very lonely sport. But one of the things that I've noticed within everyone that was there is that it wasn't that they had the best program. It wasn't that they had the healthiest nutrition, the healthiest nutritional protocol to be on stage. It was because they were extremely disciplined, and they were very consistent with their workouts and their nutrition. So once you start working on consistency, you're going to notice that you extend your time horizon and you're going to see results. Now, a lot of people need to work on this before even starting their fat loss phase, because if you're not consistent just drinking more water, if you're not consistent just getting more protein in, if you're not consistent with the basic stuff, then it's going to be very hard for you to tackle on more stuff later on. I have people asking me, oh, what time should I drink my protein in? And I'm like, are you consistently getting enough protein on a daily basis? And they're like, I don't know, how much do I need to take? It's like, maybe let's address that first before working on protein timing. So like I said, there's steps to the game, and there's ways that you got to work your way up. Now, if you're confident and your metabolism is in the right place, your hormones are optimized, you're very consistent with all these basic steps, and you're ready to take that next step and actually go into a deficit, this is what to do now. So step 3, once you're ready to go in a deficit, and this works for someone that's building muscle as well, it's what you want to do is you want to find an appropriate amount of calories and protein to intake. Because to be honest, weight loss or weight gain or anything that has to do with body composition, as opposed to building muscle, it's going to be very driven by caloric intake and protein intake. Yes, exercise protocol has a huge impact, but if you are addressing weight loss, calories and protein are going to be the main drivers. Now, the signal and the stimulus that you crave to build your metabolism, to build muscle, it's going to help out with the type of exercise, the type of workouts that you pick out. The calories and proteins are going to be very essential and important whenever you are approaching a fat loss phase. So calories is going to determine if you lose weight, and protein intake is going to be what helps you and aids you preserve muscle during this weight loss. So how do we know how much calories to intake? You know, that work that we did on the back end, you know, that step number 1 that we did, I said, track your food for at least 1 or 2 weeks. If you were at the higher level and you did use MyFitnessPal, Carbon, or any of these trackers, what you're going to notice is you want to look back on where your calories were and how that affected your body. This is the best way to really see where your total daily energy expenditure is, which basically means how much calories your body needs and what it does with those calories. For example, if you eat X amount of calories, let's say if you eat 2,000 calories and you ate 2,000 calories for 1 week straight, and you notice that your weight started going up, then probably your total daily energy expenditure is lower and you're eating more calories than you need. Now, let's say if you eat 2,000 calories and your weight stayed the same during the whole week, then you did that for another week and it still stayed the same. You did that for a third week and still stay the same. Then that's probably your total daily energy expenditure. That's how much calories you need to maintain weight. Now, if you lost weight, then that's probably you're on a deficit. And what you want to do is search for that TDEE, total daily energy expenditure, how much calories your body needs to maintain weight. Now, there's another protocol that you could take. That past one, the one I just said, that's going to be the most efficient way because it has a lot of context involved with your specific body and how your body's reacting to the calories that you're giving it. But you could also use a calorie calculator. There's many of them online. You could just search for calorie calculator. I would recommend using the one that my guys from Mind Pump offer. They're my mentors. I really recognize everything that they do, and they're one of the best guys out there in relations with fitness and nutrition. So all you got to do is search for Mind Pump calorie calculator, or just look for a basic calorie calculator in there. And what you want to do is you want to find that TDEE. You want to find that total daily energy expenditure. You want to find where your maintenance calories are. Now, sometimes it does happen where it shoots out a number and you try it and you're gaining weight, then that's probably higher than what your maintenance is. And you got to and that's when you make adjustments and see what actually fits your body. Sometimes it shoots out something and you're going to automatically go into a deficit. It's like, that might not be your daily energy expenditure, and you got to make adjustments and track to actually see where you're at. Once you find your total daily energy expenditure, then you pick what the deficit is. You could do a 10%, a 15%. I would probably say up to 30% of a deficit at the most. I would recommend doing it less because, like I said, it would be better if you extend your time horizon and you give yourself to lose weight appropriately while you maintain muscle. But if you're looking for something that might be a little bit quicker, I would suggest at the most a 30% deficit, because you want it to be large enough so that way you could see progress and see quick progress. Because to be honest, most of the people that search for fat loss, they want like the weight gone yesterday. So, okay, you want to see progress, 30% deficit, but that also is not so big that you're losing muscle. So you're going to be able to see weight loss fast, not lose muscle, and maintain a social life, because we want to make sure that this is something that we can do long term. And we want to also have that time for our family, for our friends, for work, for school, for all these different things. So an example, if the calculator gives you TDEE, it gives you your total daily energy expenditure of 2,800, then what a 30% deficit would be 1960. So you would try that. Now, caveat here, if you try that amount of calories and you see the weight drop dramatically, I'm talking 4 or 5 pounds or more, then you want to bump those calories up, because you don't want to lose weight quickly. And to be honest, everybody's body reacts differently. This is why a coach is important. A coach assesses and addresses any fluctuations and makes adaptations to the program, because there's no one formula out there that's perfect. That's a one size fits all. Everything's going to be different for every person, and everybody's body is going to react differently. So what we want to aim for is maybe 1, 2, at the most 2.5 pounds of a weight loss per week. I recommend 1 to 2, but that's because I want to maintain as much muscle as we can while we go through this process. Now, to maintain muscle, protein intake is very important. Protein is what's going to help you preserve muscle during this fat loss phase. So for fat loss or for muscle gain, whichever one, you want to have your protein intake roughly around 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per body weight in pounds. For example, if you're a 115-pound woman, if you weigh 115 pounds, your protein intake would be anywhere from 115 times 0.8, which is 92, to 115 times 1.2, which is 127. So that range of protein intake for the day is going to be from 92 grams of protein to 127 grams of protein. And you want to do that with whatever, whichever person's out, well, not whichever person's out there, but if you want to calculate your own protein intake, that's the multiplier that you want to use. Use your weight in pounds, multiply that by 0.8. That's going to give you the low range. Multiply that same weight by 1.2 grams. That's going to give you the high range. And you want to fit your days in between those ranges. There's going to be some days that's going to be lower. There's going to be some days that's it's going to be higher. That's why I say you want to fit them within the range. Now, if you're very, very overweight, if you have over 20% body fat as a guy or over 30% body fat as a woman, if you're very overweight or obese, you don't want to use this multiplier. What you want to do is you want to get your weight in actually pounds bit of lean body mass rather than than the weight in total. What does that mean? Let's say you're 115 pounds, but you're 20 or 30% body fat. What you want to do is you want to multiply your weight by the 30% and take that out, and that's going to be your grams percentage. Because if you consume too much, it's going to affect your liver. It's going to affect you in ways that you're not going to enjoy. So make sure we have an adequate amount of protein, because there is a thing of having too much protein. I'm actually going through it right now. So I had to bring my proteins down. I was at 1.2 grams, and it was affecting my bowel movements. It was affecting me going to the bathroom, all these different things. So I actually brought my protein down, brought my fiber up, and I'm feeling way better. And to be honest, if your body's feeling better, if you're digesting food properly, then you're probably going to get the most out of this. If you feel bloated, if your gut flora is really bad, if you're not digesting food properly, your body's not utilizing your proteins and the nutrients that you're giving it efficiently. So you want to make sure that everything's optimized for that. Now, step number 4, let's say we went into our fat loss phase. We took all the steps necessary. We dropped the weight, etc. We want to have an exit strategy, because you can't diet forever. No one wants to diet forever. Heck, I want to diet for like 2 weeks and I'm done. I hate dieting. I hate going on a fat loss phase, but I do it because I enjoy seeing my abs every once in a while. Uh, but and to be honest, like right now, I go through one at the most, maybe 2 fat loss phases for the year. And then I'm mainly on a maintenance phase, or I'm on a very slow a very slow, well, either a maintenance or a reverse, because if I'm usually coming off fat loss phase, I do a reverse. Now, what does having an exit strategy mean? You want to define what success looks like. What is the ultimate goal? You don't want to just start a diet. It's like, oh, I want to start a diet just to lose weight. It's like, okay, how much weight do you want to lose? Have a goal set in place of where you want to be, so that way you know when you're done. If you don't know when you're done, it's harder to get there, because you're going to be spinning your wheels and you're just going to be trying different things, and you're going to see some progress here and there, but you don't have that end goal, that end vision of that's going to let you know, okay, we're good, we're done with this. Now let's go for our next goal. So some quick options: choose a specific weight, maybe a body fat percentage that you want to achieve, a specific look, maybe a dress size. You want to drop down to a dress size, or for a guy, waist measurement. So you want to clearly define what your end goal is. Now, from there, once you have that, you want to make sure that you have a lifestyle integration plan in effect afterwards. What does that mean? A lot of people out there lose weight and gain it back. And I want to be honest with everyone here right now, we don't have a weight loss problem. Everyone loses weight all the time. I know a lot of people that have gone on diets and that have lost weight. The problem is that we have a problem keeping the weight off. And that's because whenever we approach a diet, whenever we approach a process, we usually pick something that's very different from our own lifestyle. So that way, it's literally, we're on a diet, we go off a diet, we go back to normal life, and we gain all that weight back. So after you're done with this diet, after you reach the goal that you wanted to reach, okay, what can we do to stay here? What can we do to return to homeostasis, which means probably do a reverse diet, so that way we could build your maintenance back up, but so that you don't rebound, you don't gain the weight back. Now, how does your life look like after this? If you were someone that was, let's say, drinking alcohol Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you stopped drinking alcohol maybe 2 days and left it just for 1 day a week, are you going to go back to drinking alcohol every single day? Or do you like where you're at? So it's like really taking a deep dive on your personality. It's like, did you become healthier? Did you enjoy the process? And this is why it's so important picking the right process, because sometimes when we do something that we don't enjoy, we want to get done with it right away and go back to where we were. And that's when we see the weight gain come back. So it's very important that the process you're picking is something that's doable for you and that you enjoy. Because at the end of the day, like I said at the start, consistency is going to be what gets you to succeed. And what's going to create consistency is you enjoying the process. If you don't enjoy it, you're going to be wanting to get done with it as fast as you can. And as soon as you get done with it, you're going to be gone and you're going to go back to exactly where you were. Now, step number 5. And this is something that's very important. I should have actually made this step number 1. But I just wanted to put it last because I wanted to address it a little bit longer than the other ones. What you want to do before starting a fat loss phase, before starting any sort of fitness phase or nutrition endeavor, you want to check your current mental health. You want to check your stress levels. You want to check in on your life demands. Because to be honest, dieting is a stress. It's a huge stress for your body. Whenever we're approaching a diet, we're going off of what's a deficit. So we're literally feeding your body less than what it requires. Let me say that again. When we're going on a diet, We're not giving your body the nutrients that it needs. Now, because of that, you're going to lose weight. That's why sometimes dieting to an extreme is such an unhealthy thing, and you have to take the right steps to appropriately doing it. Now, if you're already in an unhealthy stage, dieting would be the worst thing that you could do for your body. If you're chronically stressed, if you're not sleeping well, if you don't want to have sex, if your libido and your drive is very low, then dieting is going to make that worse. So make sure before you go on a fat loss phase, make sure that you're healthy first. That's why whenever I get a client in, I start them off what's called a metabolic restoration phase, which this phase is we're literally addressing all the health markers, making sure that hormones are optimized, metabolism is primed, making sure that your body is healthy and everything is good to go for the fat loss phase. Then we go on a fat loss phase. Most people skip that. To be honest, most people that I know that want to go through a fat loss journey, they go right into the diet. And I'm telling you, most of them are chronically stressed. They're not sleeping well. They're having fights with their loved ones. They're doing bad at work. And all these different stressors are impacting their life. And they're adding an extra stress on their body. Their body's not going to react well. And to be honest, if you're not healthy before going into this fat loss phase, you probably won't see success. Or you might see slight success, but then your body's going to adapt to that and it's going to become harder and harder and harder. Now, that's okay. It's okay to be, we're all in different places in our lives, and sometimes we have different stressors in our lives. And what this does is it gives us something to work on before attempting such a large change. Because at the end of the day, yes, this fat loss phase is going to help you lose weight, but what we ultimately want to achieve, and I've been on many calls with many people when we talk about my program, and everyone says, I want to be healthier. It's like, yes, it's tied into an image of what my body would look like in the mirror, but at the end of the day is like, health is the most optimal place to be. And if you're healthy, if that's already compromised before that, maybe let's take that fat loss goal, or let's take the vision of what your body would look like, put it off to the side just for now. Let's get you healthy first. Let's get your hormones optimized. Let's get your metabolism primed. Let's bring your sex drive back. Let's ease off some stress. Once that's done, it's like, okay, now let's approach that fat loss phase. And that's why it's so important, guys, to hire a coach that knows stuff like this, because it's not the sexy outcome. And most people that have known the space or that have been around the space, they all know what sells. And it's like, oh, 30 days, 30 pounds off in 30 days, or let's go into an extreme deficit and let's make you lose as much weight as possible in the shortest amount of time. And what these programs don't take into account is the aspect of health, the aspect of your metabolism and your hormones. And they also don't take into account behavioral change. In the aspect of like, this is not just something that you're going to do for right now. This is not just a goal that you want for the next month or two. This is something that you want for forever. I mean, most of the people I talk to have been trying this for quite a while now. It wasn't that they wanted to lose weight 1 week ago and like, hey, I want to lose weight. Okay, let's do it. It's been something that they've been dealing with for quite a while. And if they've been dealing it for quite a while, there's a lot of stuff, a lot of steps you got to take before even addressing the fat loss phase, just to make sure that your body's primed and your body's optimized and we're not making any extra damage. So guys, those are the 5 steps to take. Let's do a quick recap of what we talked about. Like I said, all these slides are going to be living within this Facebook group. For anyone joining me on Instagram, if you want any of the slides, let me know. Send me a message after this. I'll give you access. This video, the whole video is recorded and it's going to be in the group, and also the slides with the the calculations and all the extra details are going to be within there too. So step number one, figure out how many calories you're already eating, figure out where you're at, track your food for maybe at least a week or two, address what your current habits are, what's missing. Are you getting enough protein, drinking water? Do you have an adequate amount of veggies? If you don't like veggies, can you add some fruit in there? So just see where you're at and see what you can optimize. Step number two, figure out what you actually need. Maybe a fat loss phase might not be the appropriate phase for you. Maybe you might need to do a reverse diet, which means you bring your metabolism back up. If you are someone that has been doing many diets or have attempted many diets before, and it just gradually gets harder and harder for you to lose weight, then maybe you need to address your metabolism first. So you would want to do a reverse diet first. If you're someone that has never, ever trained before or approached nutrition before, you want to work on a maintenance and you want to get the best out of doing the least amount of effort. So that way you're able to see progress. And ultimately what you want to do is build consistency. So if you're someone that isn't consistent with the basics, a diet would become very hard for you to follow. So let's make sure that the basic staples are there. We're drinking water, we're getting protein, we're eating veggies. You could tackle in maybe some daily movements, maybe a 10-minute walk a day or 2 or 3 extra workouts a week. So once we see progress and we see consistency with that, then we're able to make that next step. Step number 3, find your calories and protein intake. Once you absolutely decided, okay, I'm ready for a deficit, I'm ready for that fat loss phase, that's where you either with what we tracked beforehand, we know roughly where our total daily energy expenditure is, which basically means where your calories are for maintenance. If not, you could just go online, look up calorie calculator and look up what your TDEE is. So in the calorie calculator online, it's going to give you a basic number. What you want to do is from that number, what your maintenance calorie is, you want to subtract maybe 100 to 200 calories, at the most 30% of that. And then you want to assess what that's doing to your body. If you're seeing more than 5 pounds drop on a weekly basis, that's too much. You're losing weight, you're losing fat and muscle. So you want to slow that down and you want to increase your calories. If you're seeing 1 to 2 pounds a week, that's okay. If you're not seeing any weight loss, then you drop the calories just a little bit more. If those calories are too low, then we know we need to do a reverse. Protein intake, make sure we want 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per weight. Another very easy calculation, just do a gram of protein per weight. Like if you're 115 pounds, that's 115 grams of protein. Now, a bigger range would be that 0.8 to 1.2. That gives you some variance to work with. If you're extremely overweight or obese, you want to use your lean body mass. If you're like 20 or 30% more of body fat, then you don't want to use this calculation because it's going to be too high for you. Step number 4, have an exit strategy. What does that mean? Make sure that when you actually start a weight loss phase, you have an end goal. You know what success look like. That could be a specific weight. It could be a specific body fat percentage. It could be a dress size. It could be a waist measurement or a pant size, any of these. And then have a plan to do after the diet. This could be coming back to homeostasis, which means building your metabolism back up, doing a reverse diet to build your hormones back up, creating a lifestyle integration plan. How can you adapt what we've lost so that way you don't rebound and you don't gain the weight back? How can we address any situation that might present in your life, like having kids, getting married, going on travel, birthdays, all these different things? Have a plan for that so that way you don't just get the weight off, but you keep it off. And last but not least, this should be number 1. Make sure that before you even attempt any of this, make sure you're in a healthy place mentally, your stress levels, and based on your life demands. If you have so much stuff going on right now, you might need to just take a step back and really address where you're at and take very, very slow steps forward. Because if you're not in a healthy place, if you're overly stressed, and if your life demands, if you're crazy, you just got married, you just got kids, you have a new position at work, this is where, like, hey, maybe you can't, it might be too hard for you to do it by yourself, and hire a coach. We can help you and guide you and give you that external accountability so that way you get those results that you want. But guys, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you for everyone on Instagram for joining. Like I said, please send me a message after this. I'll be able to send you over to the group where you're going to be able to see the video again and check out all the slides later on, either tonight or tomorrow. I'm going to post all those slides. Everyone online, thank you for all of that. I'm going to stop the share here, and then I'm going to go into some questions. Let me see. A second. Awesome. Okay, so going on to questions. Let's see. Question: how bad are diet drinks for you? I'm addicted to sugar and aim to lose 40 pounds, so I struggle with this. Also, please explain more reverse diet because I'm confused on that. I want to improve. Okay, so to be honest, I don't know if you've ever heard of Lay Norton, but he talks about this all the time. In the full scheme of things, they talk about added sugars within diet drinks. It's a tool that you can use if you have a lot of weight to lose. I would recommend it. I drink like if you're addicted, or maybe not addicted, but if you struggle with drinking a lot of soda, and this is what I used to drink 2, 3, 4 cans of soda a day. If that's your struggle, going from that to 0-calorie soda, that would be a huge drop in calories on a daily basis. So that is going to aid in fat loss. But you got to take into account, you also don't want to create an addiction for diet sodas. So I would recommend using it as a tool to slowly come off the addiction to soda, but then also just not overly consuming it as well. I drink sometimes, at the most, I would drink probably one 0 sugar drink or 0-calorie drink, or one diet soda a day. But now I'm at a point where I'm probably drinking maybe twice a week. Now, to be honest, when we're looking at sugar, and this is a big it's a hot topic right now, because I know there's people that are out there that say like fruit have so much sugar for you, etc. But when you're looking at a whole caloric deficit, caloric maintenance, and overconsumption, what you want to do is you want to bring your total calories down. Sorry, I actually just got a phone call. So what you want to do is you want to be on a deficit, and as long as you're on a deficit, you could have some sort of sugar and it's not going to be bad for you. Now, if I struggle with sweets in general, I use it as a comfort with stress. So that's why I heard in keto. So this might not be a sugar problem. In this case, if you're struggling with sweets in general, it's more of a habit problem. And if what's causing you to consume it might be overstress, might be maybe depression, might be something going on in your life, it's like you want to address that as a whole. Now, some things that would help you whenever you struggle with sweets, and this is what I do, is I don't tell myself to not have it, but I make it difficult for me to get it. What does that mean? For example, I tend to overeat chocolate. I love chocolate, and it's something that is very hard for me to control. And I notice with specifically chocolate ice cream, if I have chocolate ice cream at my house, I'm going to eat it. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm in a fat loss phase. If I just have a spoon, I'll probably finish off the whole pint of chocolate ice cream. So what do? Instead of telling myself to not have it, I make it difficult for me to get it. So I don't buy it. But if I do crave it, every once in a while, I go get it. To be honest, most of the time, if I crave it, I'll be too lazy to get in the car and actually drive to the supermarket just to buy ice cream. But there are times that I do. Heck, there's Saturday nights where I watch movies and I go and I just get ice cream from the supermarket and I don't stop myself from doing it. But I have that slight barrier where it's not me telling myself no, but I also don't have it very easily accessible for myself. And you could do that with any type of comfort food that you might notice might be a trigger food. And that's a thing that you could do too. Noticing what trigger foods are. When you, thanks, man. When you actually recognize and create awareness on what triggers excessive binging, that helps you go on to this plan that I just explained, like stopping yourself from having it, like not buying it. So create awareness, and you could even go and write it down, like what triggers you to over consume sweets. In my case, it's chocolate ice cream. I could eat anything else. I could eat potato chips, popcorn, all these different things, and I'm able to control myself. And like I said, I don't stop myself from having it, but I'm able to like not over consume it. But when I have chocolate ice cream, that's something that, like, if I have a jar, a pint, or anything, I have to finish it. So notice what these trigger foods are for you, and just take a deep dive on. And this is where like the first part of the conversation was like, create awareness on what you're doing right now, what habits you have. Write down, maybe do a picture diary, maybe physically write a journal down of what you're eating on a daily basis and review that. Yeah, exactly. This is what they mean by balance. So that's going to help you create awareness around what's actually going on, where you're at, and what adjustments you can make. Now, when it comes to a reverse diet, this is a lot of times what happens is your metabolism, it's what tells your body, it's what creates energy from the calories that you give it. So when your metabolism is low, I notice this happens a lot when someone that undergoes many different types of diets, your body's metabolism becomes very efficient. So what that means is it becomes really good at functioning with low calories. So if you're eating X amount of calories and you bring that down, your body's metabolism regulates and it's able to function with that amount of calories. You do that again, you bring your calories down, your body's able to function with that amount of calories. So every time you're undergoing a diet, every time you're going into a deficit, your body's metabolism is adapting to that and it's becoming efficient at surviving. And this was such a good tool to have back in the days when we were cavemen and we didn't have access to food or calories. Our body became efficient at surviving with low amounts of calories, but now we have food accessible for us everywhere. So becoming efficient with low calories is what we don't want. And this is what happens. Like I said, if you undergo many different diets and if you're always pursuing a diet, if you're always pursuing fat loss, your metabolism slowly going to regulate to become efficient to survive with less food. And this is when we want to do what's called a reverse diet. It's also called a metabolic restoration phase or a metabolic priming phase. What that means is we slowly add calories back into your day-to-day so that way your metabolism builds up. And we want to do it very slowly and gradually because we don't want your weight to go up. But that way your body recognizes that it's being fed, so that way it's adapting to more food. You say if I'm correct, it's slow steps into the diet. Yes, before going on a diet, before going on a deficit, make sure you want to approach it like this. You want to be able to eat the most amount of food and still lose weight. So that's a goal. And I'll give you an example, a personal example. When I did my bodybuilding show, it was very unhealthy towards the end. I got to 1,700 calories and I would maintain weight at 1,700 calories. I would eat just a little bit more and I would gain weight. So I did a deficit. I slowly rebuilt my metabolism. I added 100 calories every week or two. and I checked the scale and made sure that I didn't go up in weight, but at least my calories were going up. I got to a point where I was eating 3,000 calories, more than double, well, not more than double, a little bit, almost double the amount of calories before, with maybe 3 more pounds. But from there, you got to imagine it's much easier going on a diet, cutting from 3,000 calories than cutting from 1,700 calories. Heck, before I would gain weight with 1,800 calories. After I did my metabolism, I dropped to 2,500 calories and I lost 5 pounds like that. I was like, whoa, I can't go into this deficit with such a big drop. So that's the benefits of priming your body, of doing a reverse. You don't lose weight. It takes some time, but you get your body adapted to more calories. So that way later on, the diet process becomes much easier. You don't have to drop so much food. So what that creates is sustainability. It creates long-term results, because you're going to ultimately be eating more and losing weight. But yeah, man. Let me see. I think that was it. I actually got to get going because I got brownies waiting for me after this. So nutritious coach, I always say there's no bad food or good food. There's food that's has more nutrients in it, and there's food that might have less nutrients in it, but it has other benefits for you. In this case, the brownies has very happy benefits for me. It makes me feel happy. I love the taste. I love chocolate, like I said before. So yeah, I'm leaving you guys with that. If you guys have any questions, feel free to DM me, text me. If you guys want something more adapted to your specific body, to your specific level, and you actually want to go through this whole process with guidance and external accountability, let me know. That's what I do. That's what I specialize in. Other than that, thank you so much for joining. Hope you have a great rest of your day.